So with that, I'll turn to our first panelist. Thank you very much. Mr. Kriengsak Chareonwongsak, President of the Institute for Future Studies for Development and former Prime Minister Counselor of Thailand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. Greetings to all my fellow panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here in this conference being organized with the tremendous goodwill behind. Let me say briefly my view on ethics and government and business relations as being stipulated for me to speak today. I have a key concept would like to advocate here. That is, should I call the new social contract. Basically, the old paradigm would be government have largely the responsibility for the society as a whole. And others take part, like the civil society would take action to remedize some of the social ills and problems that is there. And the business usually in its own way think of the context of production of goods and services as a contribution to society, rather than a clear role in working together for societal well-being. My new paradigm that I would like to advocate here would be all the public, private, and people sector collaborate fully to take charge of social well-being. That means we have to get away from the concept of thinking of the public sector alone, of the government who lead the public sector, to be the sole responsible entity for social well-being. We can get away also from the ideas of thinking that other sectors may not have the responsibility at all, nor have some partial responsibility and not complete. And also to get away from the ideas of thinking that the business community, for example, or the civic society, have just additional responsibility compared to what they already have. Or even go further to think of thinking the business community having optional responsibility they can choose whether to be involved or not. My advocacy would be, let's think of joint responsibility, that the public sector, the private sector, and the civic sector have joint responsibility together. And how does it look like in integrating this responsibility of this joint responsibility? May I call them integrated collaboration? Obviously, some may have primary role in doing so. Others may have secondary role, depends on issues. Some may take senior partnership in the effort. Others may take more junior partnership. Depends again on the issues. But if we can see the three sectors coming together, we may see a more complete picture rather than just business and government relation alone. Each sector has its own strengths and weaknesses. In my opinion, for example, the state sector, the public sector, leading by the government, would usually have legal power, staffs that are well-equipped and paid for, civil servants or public servants at their command, budget allocated to them, and legitimacy being given the right to govern. Whereas the business sector would have deficiencies in management and execution, and usually high-quality staff, highly motivated because being well-paid. Whereas the civic sectors usually would have flexibility in its approach, an ideological concern, including the proximity to the society and the problem of the society, including many social ills. My point would be how to bring the three sectors together in this collaboration of relationship will help solve a lot of problems in ethics. Ethical relationship, how do we define them? Let me advocate a key concept called integrity. Integrity comes from the Latin word that gives you the idea of the wording like the wholeness or integral wholeness. What I'm trying to say is that government, people sector, and private sectors, if we have ethical standard in our relationship, would be setting of integrity, which would include responsibilities they take in things that they think, they craft out policy, they take action, and consequences that come with it. It requires dedication of what their role they have, determination, perseverance, diligence. Governments usually need to be careful when they deal with relationship to other sectors. When they set policy, they may have the legitimacy of governing right to do so, but there's a lot of implication always. Implication to the business community in particular. When you set policy, you harm some, you help some, with or without knowing. And by doing so, even it's not their fault. Government would have the role to have integrity to compensate those who are worse off by policy that are adversing to them. My ideas of integrity go further than just responsibilities. It would have to be also meritocracy. Basically, in our relationship in politics, and I'm used to be in all the tri-sectors, both as politician myself, in my past life, as well as in business community, leading one of the largest corporations in my country. Let me suggest this. Often, there is a lot of, may I call, conducive relationship between business and the public sector so that they help one another in their work. Meritocracy would call for openness, call for proper conduct. We are used to wording like cronyism, nepotism, many words of that kind. And in many societies, patent and client relationship that comes with it in governance. We have heard from Susan, our moderator, mentioning the modern issues of how private sector in their business, in technology, in information, and government sector in their governance, how they could not compromise the issue of well-being of people, privacy of people, human rights, issues of what is right, how far do you go. Meritocracy, therefore, would help very much in evading the negative issue of patronage. Also, honesty, which is calls for. Transparency is an issue that has been very much affected in governance circle that I'm used to. Often, government would like to say everything are confidential or very confidential unless you're forced to reveal. If we turn it the other way around and say everything is open and transparent except you can explain why it needs to be confidential, that may help very much so that those conflicts can be clearly delineated. And we can say, okay, there must be good reasonable justification in the neo-social contract that everything that you are using as public confidential information need to be clear that it gone through the system of justification or rationalization, why it has to be confidential, why it cannot be transparent, why can't the people you govern know what you are doing. And business relationship could take shape by going on those kind of public new social contract, things that you not justify for confidentiality must be kept transparent so that it could allow others to look at it legitimately and look at the whole issue properly.
On that very important note, about another minute, please.
Let me conclude, therefore, by saying that inclusivity, a key word that is very essential in the relationship of government and private sector and people sector for that matter. If we are more inclusive with integrity, I suspect all the applications that we are facing today in many issues of controversies could be clearly moving towards solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.